Let's go have a great day at Disney's Animal Kingdom with the new Multipass as a non-resort guest. Hello, Mayhem fam, and welcome back to this Multipass series. This is the third episode where I am visiting the Walt Disney World parks one by one and using the new Multipass system as a non-resort guest. Like in Epcot and Hollywood Studios, I have made a list of my favorite things to do at my favorite Walt Disney World park, and I will be using any means to achieve my list today. That means using Multipass, Single Pass, aka Fancy Rides, Standby, and overall just having a great day and using the new system as an average guest in the park. Of course, along the way, I will be sharing some tips and tricks on how to use the new system, best ways to navigate Animal Kingdom, but overall, we're just here to have a great time. So let's get to it. It's gonna be, you know I have to do it, wild. And now just the quickest little Multipass, Single Pass 101 as we head to our first attraction. Multipass is the new system that rolled out a few weeks ago and replaced Genie Plus. This is your paid way to skip the majority of the lines across Walt Disney World. The price for Multipass will be one cost per person per day, and that's going to vary based on the time of year you visit. A weekend during Christmas season is going to be much more expensive than a weekday in February. The price also varies by park, with Magic Kingdom typically being the most expensive and Animal Kingdom being the least expensive. Today, Multipass was $16 for me here at Animal Kingdom. Now, the biggest change between Multipass and Genie Plus is the fact that you can book things in advance. Currently, with Multipass, as a Walt Disney World Resort guest, you can book for your entire trip up to 14 days, starting 7 days prior to your check-in day. As a non-resort guest, you can reserve your Multipasses 3 days prior to the start of your park ticket. Some park tickets will allow you to book multiple days at once, but tickets like mine, annual passes, you have to book 3 days in advance of each day you'd like to visit. The other biggest change of Multipass is that you can book multiple attractions at once. You can book up to 3 attractions and hold 3 attractions at all times with this system. Single Pass, aka Fancy Rides, are still basically the same as they were before. These are the attractions that are so popular that each park that if you want to skip the line there, you're going to need to purchase an individual access to that attraction. They are the same attractions they have been previously, and this park gets Flight of Passage, and it cost me $14 today. Fancy Rides can now be booked at the same time as your Multipasses. The last thing I'll remind you of is the fact that Lightning Lane is the term for the physical entrance at the attractions. This is the physical expedited queue that you will be using with both Multipass and Single Pass. So if you hear someone say, I'm going to book my next Multipass or I'm going to book my next Lightning Lane, it's the same thing. Lightning Lane is the physical place at the ride. And with that, let's rewind it back to 3 days ago when my booking window opened for Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now, one important thing to note about Animal Kingdom compared to the other 3 parks are there are no tiers with Multipass. At the other parks, there are Tier 1 attractions and Tier 2 attractions, and when you're initially booking, you can book 1 in Tier 1 and 2 in Tier 2, or all 3 in Tier 2. But here in Animal Kingdom, there are no tiers. You can book any 3 Multipass attractions that you'd like. Now, this was just a quick overview of the system. For the full breakdown of everything you need to know, definitely watch our first Multipass Extravaganza Palooza guide that I made a few weeks ago. There was availability for everything, so I selected Kilimanjaro Safaris, Expedition Everest, and Navi River Journey, which are all 3 pretty popular attractions. The other most popular attraction would be Cali River Rapids, but obviously I'm not doing that. Navi River Journey had the least availability of any attraction. That's because it's the most popular Multipass here, with the earliest times being mid-afternoon to early evening. Everything else also had availability, but a lot of things, including the more popular attractions, started in the afternoon. However, as always, I recommend locking in those attractions that you want, selecting whatever times are available as quickly as possible on that initial booking screen, and then going back and trying to modify after booking and over the next few days prior to arriving at the park. I also booked my Fancy Ride Lightning Lane for Flight of Passage, which also only had early evening availability. But over the last few days, up until this morning prior to coming to the park, I fiddle-faddled, I modified, and I was able to come in with this stack of attractions. Navi River Journey, still the farthest out attraction, but I was able to get Flight of Passage for much earlier in the day, as well as Everest and Safaris. And speaking of Flight of Passage, it's time to fly that way, because we're almost late. Flight of Passage, definitely the most popular attraction here at Animal Kingdom. This is that 3D simulator that puts you on the back of a Banshee and flies you over the Valley of Moara here in Pandora, the world of Avatar. It has a 44-inch height requirement and a very unusual seat. So if you haven't ridden it before, I highly recommend sitting in the test seat outside before jumping into the queue, just because it is a little unusual and may not be comfortable for everyone. Yep, thank you, appreciate it. Now, the biggest change to Fancy Rides with Multipass is the fact that you can now modify them. This is a huge improvement in my opinion. Previously, once you purchased your Fancy Ride, you were locked and loaded for that ride at that time. You could not change it. Now, of course, based on availability, you can modify the time, the ride, and even the day for your Fancy Rides. which is why I knew to check this morning, because I was hoping as the day started and things were moving about, maybe some earlier times would come available, and one did, which is why I was able to modify mine from this evening up to this morning. So while there's no guarantee that there will be availability for the fancy rides, this has now worked twice, both here and Hollywood Studios, where I was able to modify that day to a better time for my fancy ride. So it's definitely worth checking, especially as a non-resort guest, since you didn't get first pick of that fancy ride availability. Definitely check once the day gets going to see if there's a better time, or even if the ride was sold out, if it comes back available.
Which could be physically hundreds of kilometers away.
Moments later, you'll begin your flight. A Navi guide will lead you out. No experience.
Flight of Passage check. It really is such a beautiful attraction. Definitely a must-do when you're coming to this park, and very, very popular. Just had a 70-minute queue. In standby, I waited like 5 minutes in the lightning lane. Now, one thing I do want to highlight about this attraction is you're looking at a pretty long wait all day long, especially for non-resort guests. Resort guests, if you don't want to purchase the fancy ride for this, I highly recommend getting here for that early theme park admission, which is a perk of staying at any Walt Disney World resort. The parks open up 30 minutes early. Get here 30 minutes to an hour before that, and you can go through standby pretty quickly. I did it in our rope drop series. But as a non-resort guest, by the time you're able to get in, the line's already an hour plus, and it's going to stay that way for most of the day. It may drop a little bit in the afternoon, evening, as people start to hop out of this park. But I know a lot of people want to come here first, knock everything out, and then leave and go to another park since this one closes the earliest. So for a lot of people, I think that it may be a good idea if you want to purchase the Lightning Lane for Flight of Passage, and then maybe you don't need to do Multipass for the other attractions here. But for now, we are headed to our first Multipass attraction. We got to scoot to Africa. All right, it's time for our first Multipass Lightning Lane of the day, Kilimanjaro Safaris. And as you can see, it's pretty busy here today. This is the busy time for Animal Kingdom. It's late morning. This park opens the earliest, which means that around 11 or so, it is pretty busy. You're going to see kind of your peak wait times throughout the day, and then they'll drop in the mid-afternoon, which means that also, if you're someone who wants to not pay for Multipass, you can get a lot done at this park without it, especially if you come in the mornings when the lines are a lot lower. Starting at rope drop, even as a non-resort guest, with the exception of Pandora there, the crowds are going to be very demure, very classy, very mindful. However, once the park's been open for a few hours, you're going to start seeing those 50, 60, 70-minute waits, which we're seeing now. I am not a morning girly, which is why I started this video in the mid-morning, which is still early for me. Also, because I've heard from several of you that you're not rope droppers and you want to see what the parks are like if you want to sleep in a little bit on vacation. But truly, if you want to get a lot done in this park, this is the one to rope drop and not spend money on Multipass. All right, Kilimanjaro Safaris, flagship attraction of the park. It's about a 25-minute ride through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve on a big safari truck where you're going to see possibly real, well, they're not possibly real, they're definitely real. It's just you don't know which animals you're going to see because they're real. Lions, elephants, giraffes, zebras, rhinos, hippos, crocs, and more. It's the only attraction in Walt Disney World that's completely different every time you ride it, and it's one of my all-time faves. As you can imagine, it's very popular because of this reason and currently has a 60-minute wait. Now, I do recommend riding this one early in the day or late in the day because you usually get a little bit better showing of the animals when it's not quite so hot, but we'll see who's out today. Also, now that I've tapped into my first Multipass attraction, I can book another one. Remember, you can book 3 initially, and then you can always have 3, which means as soon as you tap into your first one, you're going to want to go ahead and book number 4, etc. Now, tapping into your first Multipass attraction is very important because it unlocks the ability to book a lot of different things. For starters, if you've got park hopper capabilities on your ticket and you plan on park hopping, tapping into your first Multipass Lightning Lane unlocks the ability to start booking attractions at other parks. It also unlocks the ability to modify the attractions you currently have to other parks. And if you were in a park that had tiers, it would unlock the ability to modify the current attractions you have into other tier 1 attractions. All right, so now that I'm all tapped in, let's see what is available. Flight of Passage, 75-minute wait out of Fancy Rides. Dinosaur, 55-minute wait. I could book for within an hour. Everest temporarily closed. Additional booking not available. That's probably because it's down, which is actually a bad sign, but hopefully it comes up soon. Looks like all the shows have availability. Cali River Rapids, 60-minute wait, 6:15. That's a pretty late lightning lane considering this park closes at 7, so that one will run out probably pretty quick. Safaris, again, 60-minute wait, 12:45 for the lightning lane, so that's about an hour. Navi River Journey, 75-minute wait, and because it says additional booking not available, that means that one is gone for the day. I'm going to book Dinosaur, I think, and hope that Everest comes back up before I head to that part of the park. Oh, it changed my time. It went from 12:45 to 1:45. Did you see that? Well, we're going to go ahead and lock it in, and then we can try and modify to feed it.
That's due to their shorter legs. That's because these Nile crocodiles have a iconic blue and red stripe along their noses. And they really do need all the help that they can get at high speeds. What also helps them out is they're more efficient. Animals, they'll study their predators.
Kilimanjaro safaris, check. Now, one thing I've been doing in these videos is I've also been seeing how long I wait in the lightning lane versus how long the standby queue is, and then totaling up that at the end to show you how much time you save using Multipass. That was a 60-minute queue. It took me 5 minutes to get on my safari truck, so big savings right there. And I know I normally don't recommend the middle of the day for the safari, but I just had an amazing safari. Got to see everything. Cheetahs very close. Got to see the lions, rhinos, baby elephant, baby zebra, giraffes. It was a wonderful, wonderful safari. So the evening and the morning are more consistently good, but it just goes to show that no matter what time you're at the safari, it can be wonderful. Now, as an update, Expedition Everest is still temporarily closed and my lightning lane window is about to start, so I got a push notification from the app that I have received an experience redemption pass. This is what the system is automatically going to issue you if the attraction is temporarily closed during your lightning lane window. You can see it on your My Day. It'll be called an experience redemption, and you can click into it to see where you can use it. You can use it on that attraction anytime for the rest of the day once it reopens, or you can use it on select other attractions. For Expedition Everest, I could use it anywhere else except for Flight of Passage or Navi River Journey, but I'm saving it in hopes that Expedition Everest opens up again. But what's important about these experience redemption is they are not considered lightning lanes in the system. As Alan would say, they sit at 2 different lunch tables, which means I only had 2 lightning lane books at that point, and I could go ahead and book a third. I went ahead and booked the next available time for Festival of the Lion King, which is the 1:30 to 1:50 p.m. return slot for the 2 p.m. show. And since I have some time until then, I decided I would head over to the other side of the park and check off a few things there. So I fiddle-faddled that Dinosaur return time to get it a little bit sooner. If you're new here or need a little refresher, fiddle-faddle is just the term that I use for refreshing the tip board or the modified screen by pulling down over and over again to hope that new attractions or new return times populate. New times come up all the time as the guest flow changes and the ride's able to add more people as people cancel or modify theirs, and you just have to be lucky enough to grab one of those better slots. There was like a 2-minute delay at unload on Kilimanjaro Safari, so I just fiddle-faddled and I was able to secure a lightning lane for Dinosaur for like right now. So we're gonna head over to that side of the park. But one of my biggest tips with using this system is to fiddle-faddle. Book what you can when it's available. If it's what you want at the time you want it, that's perfect. But there are times where maybe attractions aren't available or it's a later time than you'd want. Go ahead and book it anyway and then use that fiddle-faddle on the modify screen to hopefully be able to get a better time or even see an attraction that was gone earlier come back. Welcome into Dino Land. It's actually my first time here since Disney officially confirmed at D23 that they are destroying this beautiful land to make way for tropical Americas and Heaven Encanto and Indiana Jones rides. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm excited to see those things, but I will miss Dino Land, and specifically Dinosaur. Now, before we get to Dinosaur, I am going to check something else off the list, which is hug an elusive creature. And there's no creature quite as elusive as the Chipmunkosaurus, which honestly might be the saddest loss from this land besides Dinosaur. Hi, Chippendale! How are you? I love your outfits! You guys look so cute! My favorite dinosaurs. What kind of dinosaur are you? You're a Stegosaurus, right? And you're a Triceratops? I love it so much. You guys look adorable. Hopefully those Chippendale costumes stick around despite the loss of Dino Land. They are just so cute. But you know what's definitely not sticking around? This incredible attraction, iconic, amazing park opener, Dinosaur. Well, I guess actually, technically it opened as Countdown to Extinction. But it's the OG thrill ride here in Animal Kingdom. And it is a Jeep-style attraction that's going to take you back in time to rescue this guy right here, the Iguanodon. Definitely nothing will go wrong, and it'll all be fine. Although I do want to tell you it has a 40-inch height requirement, that's 40, and it's very loud, very choppy, very bumpy, very dark, and there's big dinosaurs. So, you know, not everyone loves it, but I do, and I'm excited to ride it. Definitely not for the last time, but they've said construction starting on Dino Land this year. The whole thing should be open by 2027. Who knows when this ride is actually going to close in that, but you can believe I'll be paying tribute to Dr. Grant Seeker before he goes. Now, Dinosaur does vary in times. As we saw earlier, it was 55 minutes. Now it's only 25 minutes. Hello. Thank you. So you definitely don't need a lightning lane here. You can usually catch it lower than 30 minutes. But obviously we're using it today, and 25 minutes is still 25 minutes. And now that I've tapped in, I can book something else. Oh, Everest is back up. That's good news. Maybe I'll do that next and change my Festival of the Lion King to a little bit later so that I can take advantage of Everest being open. I don't want it to go down again. See, I could, there's plenty of availability at any of the shows. Cali is out, and let's see if Navi's out. Yep, additional booking not available. There's only 9 attractions on Multipass here, so there's not a ton to use it on because you don't need it at a lot of the shows either. But you know what? I have stuff to be a bug on my list today because that's also going away, so I want to get in a ride while I can. So I might as well book it.
Spectacular creatures to ever walk the earth. I will convince you forever that the future is truly in the past.
Hello there. Welcome to our little trans-dimensional joyride, folks. I'm Dr. Seeker, your friendly controller, and a heck of a paleontologist, if I do say so myself.
Time travelers, place all loose items in the pouch in front of you. Fasten your seatbelt.
And get out before that asteroid hits. Let's roll! Let's go get that dino. Computer, what are you tracking?
Ready. All year round. Hadrosaur.
Stop! Identify! They're not gonna make it! They're not gonna make it!
Rip Dinosaur. I love you so much. You're not even gone, and I miss you already. That attraction, a delight. I said on my checklist today, I wanted to thank a dinosaur, an iguanodon specifically, because one detail not everybody notices is that at the end, the iguanodon actually holds up a log so that your Jeep can escape and you can make it back to the current time. So I always like to whisper very quietly, thank you, to him because, you know, he's saving us. Posted wait 25 minutes, only waited 3 to get in the pre-show, which is where Disney stops the clock, so that was great. And then I did some modifications, waited to board my Jeep. I'm gonna head to Everest now since it's back up and running and I don't wanna risk it going down again, which means I modified my Festival of the Lion King to be a little bit later show so those didn't overlap. With shows especially, you need to be mindful of time because 1, the return window is only like 15, 20 minutes versus an hour. And 2, you can't be late because the show has to start. So they're very strict on the return times. There's no couple-minute grace period like they may have on attractions. It's time to ride Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain TM. This is one of my favorite coasters in all of Walt Disney World. It's also one of the tallest attractions in all of Walt Disney World, tied with Tower of Terror. They both stand 199 feet tall. And this thrilling coaster is going to take you up the Forbidden Mountain in search of the legendary Yeti, which, unfortunately, you may run into. Don't worry, though, she's quite a dancing queen. Now, this attraction has a 44-inch height requirement, and it's very popular, especially considering it went down earlier today. It has a 60-minute wait in standby, so I'm glad to have snagged that lightning lane earlier. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now I'm going to check to see if lightning lanes have come back in the app because as of the dinosaur queue, they had not. No, they are still out of lightning lanes for the day. But hopefully if the attraction stays open, hopefully if there's no more downtimes, they'll repopulate those. At the time, they've just stopped offering lightning lanes since they have to accommodate everybody that had already booked one and everybody that had booked one during the downtime, like me, that's using that Experience Redemption Pass. I should also note there is a single rider line on this attraction, so if you don't mind separating from your family, that usually has a shorter wait than the standby queue and is a good way to jump on here for multiple rides or if you don't want to do lightning lanes. Okay, well, first things first, Betty the Yeti has gotten a light upgrade, and you can see the rouge on her face a little bit more. Very classy, very respectful. And I like that you can see her a little bit better now because, you know, ever since she started dancing decades ago at this point, it's not always easy to see how stunning she is. That attraction, amazing, incredible, a must-do for me at Animal Kingdom. 60-minute posted wait, only 4 in the lightning lane. We are having a great day, friends. Made it into our next attraction queue. It's Tough to Be a Bug. Hello. Thank you. It only had a posted 10-minute wait, but I used a lightning lane just because, you know, I paid for it. Might as well use it. You really do not need to use it here. In fact, I'm going to have the same wait, most likely, as the non-lightning lane as the standby queue because it's just getting into the next show when it's posted 10 minutes. It's Tough to Be a Bug is a 3D show inside the Tree of Life, which is why it's cool. I especially like the queue because you get to weave all through the roots of the tree and look up at some of those 325 plus different carved animals from different angles. This is a fabulous filler attraction in between some of those heavier hitters because it's like a 12-minute show sitting down in air conditioning in a very cool theater. I will warn you though, if you have kids or big ones that are scared of bugs, dark, loud noises, well, then maybe this isn't for you because it's definitely got a spook factor to it. In fact, I've literally never been to the show and not heard a kid screaming. That said, I've always enjoyed It's Tough to Be a Bug, and it is leaving soon, well, kind of soon, next year. In fact, next winter, they will be turning this into a Zootopia 3D show in this theater, which I'm very excited for. Allegedly, there's going to be a cool Clawhauser animatronic where Hopper is now, and I'm excited to see that because I enjoy Zootopia. I don't 100% know that Zootopia makes sense in the animal kingdom. I understand they're animals, but the whole point is like the natural world and embracing that. And Zootopia is anthropomorphized animals, but that's fine. But anyway, there's only limited time left to see the show, so you may want to consider it, even if you haven't seen it in a while on your next trip, because once it's gone, it's gone. It's Tough to Be a Bug. Posted 10-minute wait. I went through the lightning lane. I'm going to say 10-minute wait just to neutralize it because I didn't save any time in the lightning lane. When it says 10 minutes, you're just waiting for the next show to start. Again, a very, very cute filler ride. And now on my to-do list was try a new-to-me snack. And as I was walking by Pizzafari earlier, I saw that they had a new buffalo chicken Sicilian slice of pizza. And I thought, is this the thing that could save Pizzafari? Is this what could change my mind about Pizzafari? Because if you've been here in the past, then you probably had the infamous puffy pizza, which they still have. But now they also have this new slice that I have a lot of questions about. All right, and here she is. It is described as a hand-pressed pan pie topped with house-made buffalo sauce, roasted diced chicken, and mozzarella, served with a side Caesar salad. Okay, let's go. I'm happy to report that it is better than puffy pizza. The crust is slightly less floppy. There is definitely more flavor because you have buffalo sauce instead of the watery tomato sauce. I wouldn't say it's a hot buffalo sauce, but you can definitely tell it's there. And then you've got a lot of cheese on here with some finely cooked chicken. finally, I don't mean like thinly, I mean like it's adequate. This is definitely better than puppy pizza. It's definitely adequate quick service pizza. But should you eat this? I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to point out that the customizable chicken bowl or the adult cheeseburger pod meal, that both at Satuli Canteen, cost as much as this. So you make your own decisions. But if you do have a reason to go to Pizzafari, if there's someone in your group that like needs pizza, this is better than regular puppy pizza. But I don't think it's going to make it onto my must-eat list here at Animal Kingdom because there's way better food than this. But it's, you know what? Awards for improvement. We reward improvement. Back now into Pandora, the world of Avatar, to use my Navi River Journey lightning lane. Now this one's kind of been the most annoying lightning lane just because it's the most popular one and most in-demand one, which means, especially as a non-resort guest, it's been the least flexible. As much as I try to line things up so I'm not zigzagging back and forth too much, when you have a popular attraction like in this park, Navi River Journey, or in other parks, rides like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Slinky Dog Dash, Peter Pan's Flight, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, there's not always a lot of flexibility with those, and so you kind of just have to work around them. Navi River Journey has 0 height requirement. This is a family boat ride through the bioluminescent forest here on Pandora, and you really want to ride it for one reason and one reason only, and that's the Shaman of Song at the end of the ride. It's an absolutely breathtaking animatronic, worth the ride, I think, but probably not worth the 70-minute posted wait time, which is pretty typical for this one. Hello. Thank you. Now, I could book another lightning lane after I touch it at the second touch point here, but there's not really anything else I want to do. There's nothing else on my list that I need a lightning lane for in this park. There's just not a ton on Multipass here. It would be more beneficial if you were hopping to another park to have been booking in the next park since there's not, again, a ton of options here. Well, let's do a wait time check just for funsies. Flight of Passage, 95 minutes. Dinosaur, 20 minutes. Lightning lanes available at 4:30. Everest, 40 minutes, but still no lightning lanes. Lightning lanes available for the next of all the show times. Gone for Cali River Rapids, 2:30, which is right now for safaris, and none left for Navi. I will say with Navi River Journey, I have seen it come back in more of the later afternoon time. Some of these will start to come back. So it's a possible good plan on maybe your check-in day to come to Animal Kingdom in the afternoon. Because like I said earlier, a lot of people leave here to hop other places, and it's usually pretty quiet in the afternoon and evening.
For your safety, please remain.
Navi, oh my gosh, these bugs. Why are they so loud? Posted wait at Navi River Journey, 70 minutes. Actual wait, 6. You'll love to see it. And now we are dashing back into Africa for Festival of the Lion King. Like I said earlier, they're very strict on return times for the shows, whereas at the attractions, if you're 5 or so minutes late, usually not any issue, but the shows have to start on time, so you better get there within that 20-minute window or you will most likely be turned away. If something happens, like you're at a dinner reservation that goes long, or you are at the other side of the park, you don't want to walk all the way back for your showtime, this is where that modify feature comes in very handy. Festival of the Lion King, my favorite thing in this park, possibly my favorite thing in all of Walt Disney World. It's about a 30-minute stage show in a theater in the round featuring the iconic, amazing, incredible music of the Lion King. There are all kinds of performers, including vocalists, stilt walkers, trampoline acts, fire. It's also incredibly popular. This is the standby queue for Festival of the Lion King show, which is why Festival of the Lion King is a very good use of a lightning lane in this park. Now, do know that your lightning lane doesn't give you preferred seating. You're not getting the best seat in the house. It's just promising you a seat so that you don't have to line up early in advance like is recommended to get into this show. Thank you. Now, if you're not using Multipass and you want to see the show, cast members recommend getting in line at least 30 minutes before showtime, if not earlier, especially on a busy day. However, I can tell you from experience, the later the show, the less the crowds. So usually for like the last show, maybe the last 2 shows, you're usually okay getting in like 15 minutes before showtime.
Slow down, slow down! I'm supposed to be center stage! Who's dead? My little lights can't make it do! You! Look at him, they're picking him up!
That show always dazzles me. I don't care how many times I get to see it. I am always amazed. I'm always dazzled by the fire thrower and the aerialists. It's just the best show. I love it so much. Now, as far as the wait time goes, it's a little bit different. It's a show, not a ride with like a physical moving queue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chalk it up as a 10-minute wait for Lightning Lane, because you could come, the last moment you could scan in with your Lightning Lane is 10 minutes before showtime. And I'm going to put standby as 30 minutes because that was what the cast member recommended at a bare minimum for waiting if you're not going to use Lightning Lane. So 20-minute difference, I'll take it. Really, with Lightning Lane at this show, it's more about guaranteeing that you get a seat at this very, very popular show. And now there's only one thing left on my to-do list today, and it's possible I've been saving the best for last. No surprise, I'm ending this lovely day at Animal Kingdom luxuriating on my favorite spot in the park, this kind of hidden path back behind the Tree of Life, and it would not be a proper luxuriation without a delicious coffee. And it's made even better by the fact that pumpkin has returned. Happy pumpkin spice season to all who celebrate. Now, I'm normally a Joffrey's girly. I do prefer Joffrey's. I even prefer their pumpkin creme brulee cold brew. It's like a black cold brew that's flavored. It's perfection, but they have some other pumpkin drinks as well. However, on this day, usually at this path, I often do go for the Starbies. One, it's literally right across the entrance to this path. Got an iced coffee, little pumpkin in there. I did do some pumpkin cold foam on top because it's my first of the season. That was a little extra zhuzh. But 2, not a lot of people realize this. When you're at Creature Comforts, which is the Starbucks, you can actually donate to the Disney Conservation Fund. This is also something you can do at any of the merchandise locations, but any donation amount Disney matches dollar for dollar, and it all goes to different wildlife conservation projects Disney's working on to save things like the real elephants, the real lions, the real environments that inspired this beautiful park. So whenever I'm picking up Starbucks or merchandise in this park, I donate a couple dollars. They give you a pin, but it's just, gotta help out the real animals too. This is probably my favorite singular spot in any Disney World park, just because there's usually not anyone here, and it's got a beautiful view of the Tree of Life, the river right here. It's just quiet, and you can do some luxuriating with your coffee. You can take amazing pictures, and you can recap your video from today. So in about 5.5 hours today, I did 7 Lightning Lanes, 6 with Multipass, 1 fancy ride. I had 2 different snack breaks, and I hugged the Chipmunkasauruses. So a pretty great day, but how much time did those Lightning Lanes really save me? Again, with Multipass, I did 6 different attractions: Kilimanjaro Safaris, Expedition Everest, Dinosaur, Navi River Journey, It's Tough to Be a Bug, and Festival of the Lion King, which, since I spent $16 today on Multipass, broke down to $2.67 a Lightning Lane. Without It's Tough to Be a Bug, because I didn't really need one there, $3.20 a Lightning Lane. But how much time did I save? Including It's Tough to Be a Bug, I spent 38 minutes in line. There was posted 255 minutes that I went through, and I saved 3 hours and 37 minutes. Without It's Tough to Be a Bug, the posted waits were 245 minutes, which means I waited 28 minutes in line, but the time difference saved, since I didn't save any time at It's Tough to Be a Bug, was still 217 minutes, or 3 hours and 37 minutes. So even here at Animal Kingdom, where Multipass is likely the least needed, you still save a bunch of time if it's a busy day or you're coming during the peak hours of the day. Ultimately, if you are trying to decide which parks you need to use Multipass at, I think this is the 4th priority. It just doesn't have a ton of attractions that are offered, which is counterbalanced by the fact that it is the least expensive, and not a ton of attractions here get really long lines. And like I said, if you're willing to rope drop, you can definitely knock out a bunch of those heavy hitters I did without too long of line, and then just again maybe splurge for the Flight of Passage queue. But for the most part, it's very easy to use here. I didn't have any problems getting the attractions I wanted, even as a non-resort guest. It was pretty easy to fiddle-faddle and modify for more appealing times. But because there's only 9 attractions and like half of them are much more popular than the other half, those are going to run out and they may not repopulate as frequently as attractions at, say, Magic Kingdom. We're going to do one last wait time and showtime check about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 hours of park time left on a relatively busy day. Flight of Passage, 55 minutes, no lightning lanes. Dinosaur, 35 minutes, could get a lightning lane in less than an hour. Everest, 20 minutes, no lightning lanes. There aren't any lightning lanes left for any of the shows because those are wrapping up for the day. Cali River Rapids, 65 minutes, no lightning lanes. Safaris, 10-minute line. I could get a lightning lane for right now. And Navi River Journey, 55-minute queue, no lightning lanes. So if you don't want to come in the morning, the other best option I think for this park without Multipass is to come in the afternoon because as I've said many, many times, most people come here in the morning and leave, not the other way around. But hopefully this was fun to show you what an average day at Animal Kingdom looks like. Again, the way to use this system efficiently is to use it at the attractions that need it and fill in between those lightning lanes with your filler attractions, your snacks, your characters, your entertainment. Yes, you can fiddle-faddle to move things around or look for an attraction that maybe is gone, but for the most part, you're able to book what you want, do a couple things, go do that attraction, book another one, and so on and so forth. We've got one park left in this series, and it's the big one, so stay tuned for the Magic Kingdom version. Definitely go check out the Epcot and Hollywood Studios versions if you haven't already, as well as that resort guest video where I went to all 4 parks as a resort guest, and the Not Genie 101 that we did at the start of this new system. If you've got any questions, definitely leave them down in the comments. And in the meantime, friends, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on social, come hang out with the Man Fam in Discord. And until next time, friends, I'm Molly, and it's been magical. Get in me. Wish I could inject this straight to my veins.